We're BatMinute 89. Greetings, citizens of Gotham. Welcome once again to BatMinute 89, the podcast where we investigate the movie Batman and struggle to know what to talk about because it's a light minute every episode. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And I am the other host, Niall McGowan. And I should assure people, there's more interesting minutes coming up, all right? We will have other things to talk about.
It's still a great minute because we've got a great guest. We've got, joining us one last time on this lovely Friday, Rat Bit Kit himself, Kit Flemons.
I am honoured to be sharing this thrilling minute with you two. I'm so glad you chose me for this.
Yeah, we're just happy you could stay for the week, Kit, because we thought it was we try to get for the guests now. We've actually hollowed out a cave under John's house to make our own Bat Cave, which it's flooded this week, but Kit hasn't minded. He's been happy to float in an old mattress down there. So
yeah, that's why the building is now subsiding because we did shoddy work. Yeah. But yes, this is minute 33 of Batman. We're all the way at 33. And the minute starts with a touching childhood memory, and it ends with a glimpse into some kind of demented surgeon's office. That's quite a contrast from beginning to end.
It really starts to heat up just as I am about to say goodbye to you, I think.
Oh, well, we'd gladly have you back.
Just because I probably know more about, eating dinner with someone than I know about plastic surgery on the mad, so... talk about what you know, I guess.
Well, yeah, as you say, it starts with Vicky and Bruce are still at dinner, and Vicky is telling Bruce about spending summers by the lake with her grandfather. But Bruce is staring at her quite intensely for a while there.
That is my first note, is just like, this is an intense stare he's got going on here.
I mean, at least it shows he's actually listening, and he's not dreaming about running off doing some Batman crap. He's a gent.
The opposite. He's leaning his head on his hand. He's sort of almost looking through her. I think he could well be drifting off.
He's dreaming of flying through the skies.
I think that's his entire intention. It's like, I need to hook up with a woman so no one suspects I'm Batman. But like, oh, this is all so boring. Come on.
It could be an act. I mean, we know that's his thing.
We just had, in the last minute, a thrilling story, we presume. We don't know what it was. They did the old thing of, there I was with 2 broken ribs and covered in feathers. That's the last time I teach John to ride a motorbike. It's a good clip, and it suggests something much more exciting has gone on. And now this scene, it just doesn't even tell us anything. They had a house on the lake, and she went there for the summer.
I think it's more... It's more designed now. If you know what Bruce's past is, it's a bit like... She's talking about like, oh, son was out with the grandparents and all. This is the way she grew up, and now it's kind of like he didn't have this. This house was what he had. It's kind of it's supposed to be giving me a little bit of like, oh, well, we know that it's a bit sad that she got to have this nice life and he didn't. And
well, maybe he's a bit jealous of the mundane.
It's a mundane conversation. It's just a mundane childhood. Even his response, "That sounds nice," is.
Yeah, is there a worse thing you could say about something or someone than nice?
But it's all thoroughly pleasant in stark contrast to having your parents killed, developing a crippling fear of bats and becoming a bat yourself. It's the contrast.
Yeah, quite different, mate. That could very well be why he's interested, though, because he wants that. He wanted that. Like, he's got this rich life, this big house, this butler, but, he kind of doesn't care.
We're all here dreaming of having all the money we could wish for and getting to pretend to be a bat by night. But, to us that sounds fantastic, but it obviously has put quite a strain on him.
Oh, yeah.
But then this now gets in, like, the next bit, though.
Yes.
She asks about his family.
And look how quickly he reaches for that wine.
Yeah. It's more like, I need to stop this conversation. I'm going to get this girl plastered. And then move on to more exciting things. But it could be a genuine character moment of like, no, I don't want to talk about my family. I'm going to pour myself a drink.
You're right. No. I thought, oh, he's obviously got sore memories, and lunges for the bottle. But it's not his empty glass he fills up. He straight away fills up her already half-full glass.
Which again made me think initially that ties into him not drinking.
Wait.
Skipping ahead a few milliseconds, he takes a drink of wine.
From her glass.
Well, is it hers, or is he sort of filled it a bit? Maybe there's a cut there. Maybe it's off screen.
I assumed as like he filled his off screen, like just out of sight of the camera kind of thing. But like,
I see.
He definitely drinks. Maybe he only drinks 1 or 2 glasses though. That could be the thing.
It could be as well that he's just got that cheeky thing that, like, you know, or not even a cheeky thing, or the things that used to say like your parents or something like that when you go like, oh, that's, you know, you're taking my cup of tea, and then they'll be like, I bought it, it's mine, it's mine. It could be just like, that's my wine, that's my glass, I'll take a swig of whatever I want, you know.
You're my woman.
It looked to me like he just leant over, took her glass, filled it up more, and then drank it.
Had to swig himself.
That's one of those red pill power plays, isn't it? That you.
I can do what I want.
Yeah, I want to show your dominance over a woman. Well, just reach over, fill up her drink, and drink it yourself.
What's she gonna do about it?
But this gets in again to like, I think like we covered in earlier minutes when we said like, oh, it's so odd that like you know, Vicky Vale and Knox, they don't recognize Bruce Wayne, they don't know him on sight. And they don't seem to know much about him when it's like, you know, it works for this version of Bruce Wayne because, like, oh, he's supposed to be such a recluse, whereas we know him as like, no, Bruce Wayne's, like, everyone knows who Bruce Wayne is. But the one thing, though, because she finds it out later, and you think she would have researched this already, particularly when she was going to his party and all that. The one thing that is out in the public domain about Bruce Wayne is that his parents were murdered. Yes. And you think she might have been like, she would have heard that somewhere, or, you know, the fact that she asked him about his family, it seems like that's the one thing maybe like everyone knows about. What I know, you're not from here, but like before you came to my party, you're a journalist. Surely you looked into me. You know, it's
maybe she's countering the red pill power play herself. There's some, you know, if a man reaches over and takes your drink, ask him how his dead family is. That will put the ball back in your court.
Well, he counters it very well because he doesn't really go into anything, does he? He just says that Alfred is his family, which is quite touching. It's quite sweet.
And this is where I was going to fit in because there's not much to talk about in this minute. But we covered in previous minutes, you know, actors who have played Alfred and whatnot. And I thought we might go into the origins of Alfred, because was he always Bruce's family?
Oh, of course. Yeah, we need to talk about this.
Yeah. So the thing is, by the time this film was made, this is what they call post-crisis in the comics, because there was a major storyline, the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then after that, everything was rejigged. And in that version, Alfred is like a lifelong companion to Bruce. But this was not always so. Apparently, the character of Alfred Pennyworth first appeared in Batman number 16 in April 1943, was created by, says created by Bob Kane, Bill Finger, and Jerry Robinson.
It's Bill Finger.
Yeah.
Bill Finger invented all of these characters. We know that.
And then it says, just read straight off what it says here. In Alfred's first appearance, he was overweight and clean-shaven. However, when in the 1943 Batman serial was released with William Austin, he was trim and sported a thin mustache. And the DC editors wanted him to resemble that then to tie in. So they made him, apparently, in Detective Comics 83, Alfred vacationed at a health resort where he slimmed down and grew a mustache. So,
okay.
And that's been the Alfred appearance in the comics, at least, since, although it's never been in any of the films. Like, it's
to continue what you're saying, in my extensive Wikipedia research in front of me right now, he was a bumbling detective.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it next. But yeah, if you want to go.
Sorry. I'm getting too excited by the concept. He's very much a Sherlock Holmes get-up in the pictures.
Oh, no,
well, I knew at least Niall was going to research Alfred, so I deliberately held back a little bit. So that does blow my mind somewhat.
Yeah, but if you wanna, you're the guest, Kit. If you wanna come out with the,
I just to try and keep up with you two, myself knowing just a slither of your knowledge on this subject, I opened the Wikipedia page and was reading along, and I got so enamored by this picture of him with his Deerstalker hat, his magnifying glass pipe, and How to Be a Detective book.
I suppose like if people want to know the context of that image, we should put out that as it says from the Wikipedia, Alfred was originally conceived as a comedic foil for Batman and Robin. And apparently he originally made bungling attempts to be a detective on par with them. He was given a 4-page feature of his own, which lasted 13 issues. And then the stories always followed the simple formula of Alfred solving a crime and catching the culprits entirely by accident. And that sounds like wacky times. But
okay. At first I was dismissive, but that sounds pretty good. I like the idea of him trying to emulate them because, of all things, it made me think of the play Faustus. Because there's a character who wants to be like Faustus, and it kind of parallels his journey. But in comedic, stupid, slapstick, ancient fashion. You know, it made me think of that.
In the background of this picture, I was talking about on Wikipedia. If you blow it open, you can see the background. Batman and Robin. I can't quite make out. They're catching lamps he's knocked over or something.
We'll have to put the still up on the page when the day this episode comes out, so people have some reference to what we're talking about. But yeah, then they have things like let's say the pre-crisis Alfred from was comics published between 38 and 84. Established Alfred was a retired actor and intelligence agent who followed the deathbed wish of his dying father, Jarvis Pennyworth, to carry on the tradition of serving the Wayne family.
Oh no, it's not a family job being a butler, is it?
Yeah, and well, I mean, again, that is one of those things. Like I remember the big Frasier fan, and there's the episode where like Frasier gets a butler, and even just describing that plot line, you know that's going to be good. But but he has the butler in that was always like, yeah, he was coming from a long. I think that he says like, oh yes, my father buttled. He every gentleman in my family was a gentleman's gentleman and all this kind of thing. It's just like, oh, that's.
Dude, buttle is. I'd never thought of that. It is actually the verb to buttle.
To buttle. Now you're interested. Now you want to be a butler.
But at this point, though, this is like when Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson are already together, and it's at the when they're both fully grown in the midst of everything. He introduces himself and insists on becoming their valet. So this was this is how that version of Alfred wasn't the guy who raised Bruce Wayne. But then, of course, so in the post-crisis continuity,
of course,
they modify it to much more in line with what we know and what I think is a better story, which is that the elder Waynes hired Alfred away from the British royal family apparently, and
well, someone has to take him down a peg.
Yeah, and he was the Wayne valet all of Bruce's life, and then after their death, he becomes his legal guardian. And then, but apparently there's another version though where he's also a stage actor as well, and he again takes the job as his father's dying wish. But again, this is again when Bruce is a kid, and apparently there is a whole storyline where he wants to return to the stage. He's like, no, I'm not happy doing this. I want to leave. And then Bruce comes home, and apparently there's a whole thing where like he's been bullied. And Alfred, he's like, oh, I just want to, go and beat up these bullies. And then Alfred actually teaches them to think strategically. And it's like, this is how you take them down. This is how you get back. And it actually works really well. And then they develop this rapport. And then at the end of that, when Bruce is actually successful with that, he asks Alfred, would you stay then? And Alfred's like, of course I'll stay. I'll stay here to be with you. And then that's like, oh, that's really nice. And then it's like, that's it. Yeah, after the Waynes have died, Alfred raises him, and he is essentially his son. So
it is.
Yeah.
If they hired him from the British royal family, this might be a bit of an esoteric reference for your international listeners, but isn't it damn lucky they didn't hire Paul Burrell by accident?
He was Diana's rock.
He also went on to was he accused of stealing her possessions and selling her secrets?
I think so.
Which,
Yeah.
if you are a nighttime crime fighting secret identity having, person, would not be such a good trait in a butler. If he said, "Hey, Bruce Wayne, I've got some batarangs for sale, and here's some pictures of, Bruce Wayne in his underwear and cape," and it's
Now that is an Alfred story I want to see in a future movie. That's a different iteration. I want to see him doing that.
What's it called? Yeah, the alternate timeline of, yes, they hire the wrong butler. I'd like to.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I definitely need to see that one.
Yeah. Although I'm always assuming there might be some. We've joked about that there's some level here that the reason that Michael Goth's Alfred is still there because he's clearly quite geriatric. Like he's way too old to be a butler. It could be just that he knows too much. This is why it's like Bruce is like, well, you want to go out and tell people about Bruce Wayne? You ain't getting out those front doors, son. So,
He'd have to kill him. He'd have to take him down, or at least swap his pills. That's the easy way, isn't it? Well, it's just taken a dark turn. This was a happy episode, a light episode. But well, okay, yes. Back onto the episode in a minute. Yeah. Vicky says that the house and the stuff within don't seem like Bruce at all, and that is definitely the vibe we've got from this iteration of Wayne. So Vicky's on the ball. Good observation. But I like Bruce's reply because he says, "Some of it is very much me. Some of it isn't." Which bit is him? What's he getting at here? Is it a cheeky reference, maybe, to the hidden Batcave?
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah, totally. That's entirely what it is. That's always been my assumption, anyway. Yeah. But,
it says a lot about you that if you say, some of it is me, the cave full of bats.
No, but that's what I think works about that is because that's going into that old like the idea that Bruce Wayne is the disguise. He is Batman internally. So like that totally what that means is that though that dining room, what they're about to joke about, that's not him. Yeah. Like most of the grounds aren't him, but it's the all the cave underneath and all the bat paraphernalia. That is him. That's this guy. So
it's quite clever because she doesn't know about that, obviously. So she might just think he's referring to what we saw in a previous scene. Or maybe he likes collecting ancient armor or something. He's a historian. Maybe that's his bag,
Oh, yeah.
But he's actually talking about something very different.
Yeah, if he hadn't used the pronoun it and just said, well, the cave full of bats is very much me, it would have had even with that same tone of voice, same whimsical look in his eyes, it would have had quite an impact on the conversation, wouldn't it?
Oh, God, yeah.
I'd like to see her response to that.
If someone said that to me, on one hand, I would be very interested in seeing this cave. But on the other hand, I have been to the Batcave at the safari park near here. And I spent my entire time in there cowering in fear behind my girlfriend, Lauren. I was terrified. She was fine. She loves bats.
Oh, I love that. Like, I love it too. I was doing the Batman Begins business of like leaning down and standing up in the bats when they're all swarming around. And you just know too, because you can't see anything because it's pitch black in there. Obviously, for the bats. I guarantee there's probably about 5 people around me doing exactly the same thing as well.
I had to hide behind her. Literally, I was ducking down because back then as well, I had hair and I had quite a lot of hair, and the bats were flying rather close to my lovely locks. I was quite scared.
So that's what happened. Your hair, the bats just tore it all out.
I didn't want to tell anyone, but they viciously ripped it from my skull. Yeah.
The local safari park near me has not near me, where I lived once, had one nearby, had a rat exhibit, which you don't get very often.
Did they crawl over you and rip the hair from your scalp?
They were lovingly recreated in their natural environment. So they had an old paint can, a deflated football,
half a pizza.
Yeah, that could just crawling about, and I think that screw the bat exhibit. I want to go to the rat cave.
No. But I always thought like bats are better than rats because like, well, a rat's a rat. A bat is a rat with wings. It's like it's even better. Like you make something cooler, you give it wings. That's what you do.
That's like that old video game that was like Command and Conquer, but with animals. I can't remember what it was called, but you could gene splice different animals. So you could put like the wings of an eagle on a gorilla. That was like your unit.
Well, that's like tying into what me and John were just talking about yesterday because we're watching Jurassic World, and my whole we're both complaining about the. What do you call it? The Indominus Rex or the hybrid dinosaur.
Indominus.
Yeah. And the whole thing was just like, it just looks like a big version of a T-Rex or like a slightly smaller T-Rex or a bit of a raptor, maybe. But it's like, it's supposed to be a hybrid. Why hasn't it got like pterodactyl wings? And why hasn't it got like a triceratops head? This is the thing. Like, you want to make a thing, we've created this really cool dinosaur. Give it wings. That's what it needs them.
Yeah, they've clearly shown they've got no problem with the ethics of the situation, haven't they?
Exactly.
I think maybe
so much potential if you chuck ethics out of the window. It's really a bit of a constraint on.
I'm
on
thinking
all of us.
What their problem was like, that would be unrealistic to make it a proper monstrous dinosaur like that. And it's like, it's a film about cloning dinosaurs. God, just go crazy with it. Come on.
Wasn't one of the early pitches actually to have them mixed with humans?
Yeah,
Yes.
The early
like
Jurassic
raptors
Park.
with guns and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
Machine gun raptors, yeah.
Which is it's kind of survived in a way in the film because they do have trained raptors. It's like that's kind of like a little.
That's such a pathetic compromise, isn't it? Instead of having like gun wielding raptor soldiers, we've got pathetic trained raptors like a bloody poodle or something, and they come when Chris Pratt whistles.
Well, the sequel sounds like it might be touching on the territory of this original idea, to be honest, because it's going to be like a sort of world war with dinosaurs, isn't it?
But I'm thinking maybe their concern was the fact that the idea of like, it's like raptors, like dinosaurs with guns, and they go around and they're working for the military, and then down the line they go like, maybe two plumbers come in and they have to fight the raptors. And it's like, this is sounding like a film that came out around the same time as Jurassic Park that didn't do that well.
I really want that inevitable merge to happen. I think they shouldn't deny it. This love was meant to be. I think.
It should be the tagline for the on the poster. It's like Jurassic Park 6. This love was meant to be. It's just kind of instead of the T-Rex skeleton, it's some hideous man dinosaur skeleton. It's just like it just looks like it's like a Cronenberg-esque fusion of just like this is just disgusting. But
unfortunately, getting back to the minute.
What's the thing?
Sadly. Oh, sorry. I forgot to do it. I can't do it now. That would ruin the effect. But they were, of course, talking about some things not being very Bruce. I think that's how we got off topic there. And they both agree that the dining room isn't Bruce. And he gives Vicky another adorable little smile. I was swooning. Our Bruce, he's got a lovely smile.
He does that thing though, like I don't like when people do, is like when you crack a joke and then they kind of reinforce the joke back to you. Because he says like, the dining room is very much not you, and he's like, instead of just laughing, he's like, no, the dining room isn't. And so like, you're just kind of ruining the joke there. You don't have to.
You already said the punchline.
Yeah, it's like you get people who do it way worse. Well, they'll just like almost explain the joke to you when you said it. It's like you just have to laugh. Like, just leave it out there. We're two people. We both get what was said here. You don't have to force that in.
Just one last note about the kitchen and the decor that we've said there's nothing special going on in any of the decor.
No.
This film, if I was talking about, if you filmandfurniture.com, which was some of my research, if you do a search for Batman, it's all Batman versus Superman.
Oh.
The articles, the comments, which are just full of people saying, where can I buy that bowl that Batman used? Oh, that's a nice chair. Where can I get Batman's chair from?
The vital questions.
It's all Batman versus Superman. There's no one cares pre then. He's not.
We're
very
going to hit that website. We're going to get those questions in.
Yeah, it's sign of the times, I suppose. It's not. What's chic now are the glass walls.
Well, that wasn't completely unintentional. That was a little Prince reference.
Prince reference, yes. I was going to say.
Sign of the times.
Oh.
Oh, let's get some of that on. Let's put clips of Prince into every episode from now on.
I'm sure. Like, yeah, the Prince and his estate would have had no problems with just people spreading their music about for free. Yeah,
it's all right. He's passed on. Nobody cares anymore. Oh, sorry. We love you, Prince, wherever you are, man.
But yeah, as you were saying, John, yeah, we cut now. We finally leave this date.
Ooh.
And yeah, we got back into the seedy underbelly of Gotham here, and we got. I think I just noticed just before we started recording.
There's a very brief scene of the outside of his house before that.
Oh yeah, of course,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Oh yeah, we mustn't skip. Yeah.
Is that his car?
That is a good question. I think that's Vicky's. That doesn't look like a Bruce mobile.
Yeah, this is the thing we could check, because I think you do see Vicky Vale's car near the end of the film as well, when her and Knox are pulling up during the parade. So it could
I could see Bruce. Bruce would be more of a Jaguar guy. Sorry, our American listeners, Jaguar.
Well, he's not the Christian Bale Bruce, though, is he?
Yeah,
I'm looking up a list
He's still got a bit of class going on. There's a class level to him through Alfred.
Oh yeah, so yeah, the looking at it, the car in the front of Wayne Manor, that does seem to be Vicky's little brown. Don't know what car it is, but it's hers. But again, that kind of makes it seems like Bruce Wayne he's not skimping on this. He's not splashing out for this woman, because like you think he would be like, I'll send a car for her to bring her to the house. It's like, again, we should probably address that in the first minute, when it was like, well, did you have trouble finding the house? Why didn't you have a limo? Pick her up and bring her. Like, what are you, cheapskate? Come on.
At least in this day and age, you'd send an Uber, you know. So, whatever the 1989 equivalent of an Uber is, Bruce's limo.
Discussion on your earlier podcast about the dangers of Uber drivers in Gotham is that you really wouldn't trust an Uber in Gotham. And
who would you trust to pick her up?
Alfred. He seems to do everything else around here.
Yeah, he's cooking the tea.
Of course, then you probably wouldn't have seen this, Kit, though, that the infamous Pepsi ad that was tied into Batman.
No,
where it was Alfred calling Gotham local store or something like that. It's like, hello, Gotham local store. We're down to our last diet. Was it Diet Coke or Pepsi?
I
think it was.
You know what? I've completely forgotten in the spur of the moment.
I think it's Diet
Coke. Diet Coke, according to this.
Yeah, because they go, we're down to our last Diet Coke, and it seems to be implying that Batman's going to get a case of it, because all the footage of and it's like, oh, you'll know the gentleman when he arrives, he'll be in the black car, and all this kind of stuff, and it's like, oh, you make quite a scene. This is like, why is Batman going to get bloody Diet Coke? And that's just Alfred slurping away at the final can as well.
At the very least, it should be full fat Coke. A reference I'm sure that Neil, who's listening, will enjoy.
But again, also, why would you need to ring a shop ahead to be like, oh yeah, make sure you have a case of Diet Coke ready? You think just go in and get it. Like, it's going to be there.
Maybe Bruce is a jerk. If he doesn't get his Coke, he's going to hit Alfred. He smacks him all around the place, you know. He's bruised from the neck down.
Oh, Bruce Wayne needs the caffeine to get through the night. So he's just like, oh, I'm not drinking any of that swill coffee you make.
Oh, man after my own heart. And Kit's, I'm sure, as a fellow coffee fiend.
Absolutely. I'm not...
Well, I'm sure like in '89, you probably wouldn't have got the... Because nowadays you get your automated coffee machines in the house and everything. It'll give you a lovely... cappuccino within 3 minutes. But back in '89, but nope, you gotta, whatever Alfred's making, that's what he had to drink. He's like, oh, the hell with that, I'm going for Diet Coke. And then he's like, I'm zooming out of the car. He's like, Alfred, call to make sure that it's in the shop.
Well, speaking of dark behavior, sort of, a little bit, that's a loose link. We cut now to a seedy alleyway and another glimpse of a red neon sign. Now that goes to show that something untoward may be ahead, as we've already established.
Oh yeah.
And you were saying something off mic, Niall, about this sign, weren't you?
Well, so I only noticed before we started recording that this is, I'm fairly certain. Remember back in the Eckhart meeting Napier behind after the whole crime scene of picking up Nick and Eddie. and we commented behind him that had the live show sign. That's the same sign. It's the same.
Yeah.
And it seems like, yeah, this is that corner. But is it just like, oh, we didn't really have the budget. We just had these little corners cordoned off, and then we just had to use the same sign. Or is it just a bad coincidence of this whole huge sprawling city? That the plastic surgeon that, spoilers for the next minute, that Jack Napier's had to go to, just happens to be on that same corner. So,
well, do you think it's the same corner? Yeah, I'm unsure. I think it is, and my reasoning is that Napier would know the area if that's where he regularly meets his contact in the police, Eckhart.
Yeah. Although we don't know if it's a common occurrence though that he meets Eckhart there, because it seemed like when Eckhart saw him, he had a bit of like he was a bit annoyed, and it was more like the Napier had tracked him down, and that's why.
True,
yeah. But
or maybe he was expecting someone else. Like he doesn't like dealing with Napier. There's a different contact who also sometimes comes.
Although this is
but actually, you said
all material now because Eckhart's dead. So it's like, well, it doesn't matter anymore now.
Screw it. But you said this is where he goes to see a surgeon, which we see a sign saying surgery, so it's not really a spoiler. Yeah. But you briefly get a glimpse inside here, and it's filthy, which to me would suggest it's been long abandoned. So I don't think this is necessarily like where a plastic surgeon is. I think it's maybe a surgery that he's brought a plastic surgeon to.
If you're a surgeon, no matter how much money you have or how good the facilities, you at least the very most basic level of surgery is to keep it clean.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't let it get into this state, surely.
It's disgusting, I'll be honest.
What I'm thinking though is this is something we potentially get into next week as well, but I was always under the impression though that this is like a mob doctor who was always like having to take bullets out and deal with injuries after illegal activities. So he's not the best guy. He's just like he's just paid by these people to be open during the night to sort of to tend to any wounds they may have. And he's not. It could be. This is all stuff for next week, but it could be that Napier abducted him and brought him to a surgery, or it could be that the guy's always there, and he even knows Jack Napier because he's had to take he's had to tend to broken arms and stuff before, or like bullet wounds and whatnot. But
the tradition, as far as I was aware, is for unsavory types to go to a corrupt vet. Which I suppose is handy for Batman. But if you go into a vet, at least a vet is a good hygiene code of practice. There are some fundamentals that transcend all species, and one of those is cleanliness.
Yeah.
And if I was a criminal and they said, right, we're taking you to the vet, I'd be a fair cop. I understand that's we can't use real doctor. But if they said, I'm taking you to a doctor who hangs bloody rags up all over the place, hasn't cleaned in about 15 years, and there's awful water stains on every single surface. I would say take me to the vet instead. I'd rather a vet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely unsanitary.
Even mobsters have, hygiene, I think.
Absolutely.
But yeah, in terms of action for the minute, that's us. That's
Yeah, the only other thing is that there's a lovely sinister piano playing. I mean, that's about the only other thing I noticed there. It's very nice music there. I'm assuming it's Danny Elfman tinkling away.
Presumably, yeah.
We really get a sense that after the minutes we've just had, the something exciting is coming. It's almost as if to say, we're sorry you've had a bit of a quiet 3 minutes in which there's been very little to talk about it.
Yeah, sorry, minute podcasters.
Instead, it's look what's coming next. Oh God, you won't want to miss this, will you? God, it'd be a shame if you had to leave now.
Oh no, we're sorry, Kit.
Well, too bad.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
I will pour the salt in the wound and say, like, the next scene is actually my favorite scene in the whole film as well.
I think salt on the wound would actually be better hygiene practices than you will witness as well.
But
that'll be something to ask next week. Does Napier get salt on his wounds?
But I suppose it's now the time to ask you, Kit. Like, what's your personal history with this film? Like, what are your feelings on this and Batman in general? Like,
Well, I have a terrible aversion to watching any film more than once a decade, so I haven't seen this film for a very long time until you asked me to do this. And I first of all watched these 3 minutes and then thought, well, I can't work at that. I'm going to expand. And I started watching it from the beginning, and as soon as the music came on and the stones of shape that emerged and gradually became the Batman, and the score rose, and I felt nostalgia tingles and the hair stand up, and I got really excited. And then I remembered that I was doing only the soup scene, and it all sort of came crumbling down. You really built my hopes up and then dashed them.
We'll give you loads of penguin scenes next movie.
And I then watched right up to my 3 minutes so I could form the context before it. And God, it's good fun, isn't it, this film? My heart is with still the campier edge of superheroes. I like Adam West Batman and New Adventures of Superman. I like.
I think you're the only person I know who has like a VHS collection of the Dean Cain Superman like a TV show. So it's always a thing. Like I can't help my eyes always drawn to it when I'm in your flat. This is like, well, I can't believe he has that. Because
yeah, if you're going to make a superhero, I mean, the entire concept is campy and brilliant. Yeah. I think I find it really hard to cope with this trend for having a man who dresses up as a bat and goes out at night and fights a man dressed as a penguin and a woman dressed as a cat. I mean, how on earth is that anything but it's practically a children's book. And I don't
comic
like
books for children.
Well, do you think these initial 2 Tim Burton movies do the best balance of the 2 worlds? Because they're certainly campy, but there's also the dark edge, isn't there?
Yeah, they really they're phenomenal. Maybe still not quite silly enough for me, but it's a compromise. I think they still managed to do very well. It's got something for everyone. I still appreciate the campiness. People still appreciate the darkness. That if you must have people say, oh, Batman is a dark villain, and why is that? Because bats go out at night. Dark. So, it's they're pushing it to, and they try and say it's dark because he's a bat and nighttime. I don't know. But the Tim Burton manages to appeal to that whole spectrum, and we all get to meet in the middle and all agree on something. And I do like that. And
that's why I think this one has a lot of longevity, because obviously the Nolan ones are great, but they're very serious, very dark movies. Adam West, very, very silly. This is, as you say, has something for everybody.
And you get to appreciate, electric hand buzzers that's coming up. You get to see all sorts of gore and things in a way that's very enjoyable.
And you've based your whole life on the electric hand buzzer, have you?
Your listeners will surely noticed I have green hair. And
yes, of course.
My first ever party when I was just getting into the wonders of alcohol was a fancy dress party, and I went as the Joker. This is pre Heath Ledger, so it had been a while since Joker was in the public eye, and it was good fun. And there was someone with a clown favourite at the party, and that made it all the better. But then, what year did Dark Knight come out?
2008.
2008. Well, I had green hair. This party in 2004, and 4 years later, when Batman suddenly was all over the place again, and ever since the bloody Jared Leto,
oh dear!
Every single time I go out now, it's hey Joker, hey, do you like the Joker? Are you Heath Ledger or are you Jared Leto? And it
just go yes.
It's really just become a running annoyance in my life now.
Oh no! Oh, we're ending this on a dark note.
a dark note. Is that
a dark note with a K?
Oh yes.
But listen, you've got the floor now, Kit, as your final minute of the week. If you've got anything else you want to throw in, feel free to go ahead.
I would only like to plug my music once again, if that's all right.
Do it again.
If you want to see someone who is in no way related to the Joker, despite having green hair, play accordion, make loud noises, and wear makeup, God, I'm saying more and more like the Joker as we go. I can see why now.
I'm almost guaranteeing I could probably track down a picture of the Joker with an accordion and then just like put it up on the Facebook page and be like,
Well,
this is an actual photo of Kit Flemons.
Bat fans, what isn't there to like? Come along to any Ratbit Kit gig, listen online, Ratbit Kit on Facebook, SoundCloud, and all the rest. And I assure you, my singing leaves a lot to be desired. If you liked my commentary, you'll hate my singing. Come along.
I would personally recommend the I assume it's the current, I will say the most recent EP I've got off you, Chill Man. So check that one out,
there's a new
everybody.
album coming out that hopefully by October. I'm potato printing it, which takes a long time. I didn't realise.
Oh dear.
So
Much like this podcast takes a lot longer than we anticipated.
Yeah, one day there'll be more music.
Excellent. So yeah, all listeners all over the world, make sure you check that out on all the sites he mentioned there, and check us out as always on Facebook at the BatMinute 89 Listeners Society. Also, just give our general page a like. Tweet us at BatMinute 89. Instagram us, is that even a phrase? At BatMinute 89, and tumble with us. Everybody tumble together at BatMinute 89. All our main pages.
But
there.
Remember, show no Pinterest.
No Pinterest. Never. I'm going to make a Pinterest now just to be contrary.
Is Pinterest the one where you sell things you've made?
Yeah, you can do whatever with Pinterest. It's just like
Who cares
it's
about
like a
Pinterest?
rubbish Tumblr, basically. So yes, join us again next week. We'll be back on Monday, and we will have minute 34 of Tim Burton's Batman.
Damn it, Jack! He's a doctor, not a beautician! As sinister surgical shenanigans go down in Gotham's steamy back alleys, will Jack Napier be enraged by some riotous rhinoplasty, or will reflecting on the matter leave a smile on his face? Find out next time. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.